told you about my I'll call him Mr. Nani. He was this kissy teacher. He would come to specifically my desk, which was, he was a short guy. So my desk and my desk and his dick were on the same level. And he would quite literally have a hard-on, place it on my desk. I'm like, why am I looking at a boner right now, bruh?
God. What is?
And very, very tactfully said, take down notes now.
Hi, we are two baddies, one mic.
And by the way, I'm just super excited today because Turi has officially shown me love in every single day of this week, y'all. Shout out to friends like Turi because every single day this week, she may not have noticed that I've been keeping track, but every day she's given me something really cool. Mm-hmm. On Wednesday when we linked up, she gave me a cute chocolate with the happy birthday on it, and she also got me some puff pastry from Brioche, and then yesterday she got me like this really nice Smirnoff, sponsor us, Smirnoff pineapple, which is really, really good. And then today she surprised me ultimately with cupcakes.
Happy birthday.
A dozen cupcakes. I'm so psyched. Thank you very much.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
I actually felt like I've shown you a lot of affection this week, so I was not feeling this is too much for me. So I was just thinking maybe we could go like 2 weeks without talking.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you a break.
Yeah. Wow.
I'll give you a break. But yeah, I'm super excited. My birthday's up, and then yours is next.
Yes.
It's very unfair because she sets me up so high, and she does so many nice things, and now her birthday I have to overwork.
Do not worry. Do not worry.
Anyway, thank you very, very much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. Welcome to the show. My name is Kathomi.
And my name is Turi Faye. Happy to be here.
And we have a very interesting conversation today because there are so many interesting things that could happen to you in your life, but in your most formative years, the people that are mostly influential to you other than your parents are
your teachers.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
And somehow you can get a mixed bag. Sometimes you get like the best teachers in the world and they are so impactful in your life. And then sometimes you get some ghetto ones that just turn yo. And I think we've both had experiences that are, I think, both ways. I've had some really good teachers and I've had some really horrible, torturous experiences. So do we start with the good and then out the bad?
Yeah. I think just my experiences with teachers alone. So even right now when my son wakes up in the morning, he's like, I don't want to go to school. I don't like teacher this and this and this. I panic immediately because I remember experiences with teachers that had me wishing I could die. Like, I don't want to go to school anymore because why are you beefing with me and I'm a child? You're an adult. Why are you beefing with me? But they were also very good teachers. I still remember her, Mrs. Ngotwa. I was in Kilimani Primary. Mrs. Ngotwa in class 3 Red. These are one of those teachers who just believed in you. I remember just, people who just speak life into you. You just chilling and then she'd like tell your mom, these are the ones that make it. You can just see it in her. And even when I'm going through the ghetto, I'm like, no, Miss Ngotwa said, I'm the ones that make it, okay? I ain't no ghetto kid. And it's just those teachers who just believed in you and had all this faith in you that you couldn't feel.
Yep.
Even when you're being lazy and being some type of way, you're like, there's so many people who believe in me, and that just motivates you. So Mrs. Ngotwa, class 3 Red, Kilimani Primary, I remember you.
I love that you had a very positive experience with a female teacher because unfortunately you find that female teachers can be very abrasive to young women and this happens a lot. And I think for me, I think I've mentioned this multiple times. My mom was an amazing teacher. Shout out to her and shout out to everyone who showed up. That was really, really cool. Like grown women with their children even. It was so sweet to see all these people turning out for her. However, the teacher that really did instill it in me, I don't know why I forget her name. I think was her name just Stephanie? I don't know. She was so bougie. She was so light-skinned. Like she was like she was fancy. She was fine. She was a fine woman. And she really helped me with like realizing a lot of my weaknesses. For example, I didn't wear glasses for a long time. And I thought there's something wrong with the board. Like, you know, but I would still sit uko backbencher. Mimi nilikuwa backbencher. Always have been, always will be. Alini spot me and my struggles because I was always squinting. It's like, Faith, you will sit here. I just said Faith.
Is it not your name?
It is.
Yes.
Kathomi, you will sit at the front, and if I ever find you sitting anywhere else, you are going to be in trouble. And she was the principal, actually. Pioneer school, there were very few of us, so it's literally pioneer school. I was probably like the 9th student in the whole school. And she forced me to sit at the front, and it was very helpful because I could see the blackboard, you know. She realized that I have problems with concentration. Like, I get so distracted so quickly. So me sitting at the front is helpful because I'm not distracted by all this other sideshows, and additionally I can also still see the board. And I think that really helped because going forward then I knew even when I moved schools that I should really sit at the front, mostly because I can't see, and also it's little distraction and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She was such an awesome teacher. She really helped me, and truly I was a bad student because I concentrate on what is being taught in class. I get it, I understand it. After that, we're just gallivanting. So perambulating. Kathomi has an A. You over there struggling with your D.
Misleading. Misleading
It's
seems...
not that I want to.
Wow. What is your year of birth to find a calculation? Misleading others since 19? 2080?
Wait.
1990?
Early 90s.
Wow, misleading others before the millennium.
Do you see age shaming? Or not age shaming? But I think Mr. Patrick is the best way for us to get into the segue of creepy teachers.
Ooh.
Because he's giving that vibe of...
Patrick Mbashio. Who gave him an account?
It's really good.
I feel like
internet?
people should be going through a verification process before you're given a TikTok account. Because what is that man with that girl in the orange dress? Why has she not changed her dress since she came to this man's house?
She been kept hostage?
And also, if she has done all that content in one day, wow, she looks like a hostage.
She really does.
Gosh.
And she looks really young as well. Do you know what I mean?
Babe, kula mayai.
Kunywa
shai ndiposa kwa mahana.
Ndiposa tutosha.
He's a very creepy guy.
He's giving creepy uncle
And that's
vibes.
the segue of we had very good teachers, but at the same time, and this is something people don't talk about a lot, we had very problematic and creepy teachers. You'd find a whole adult has beef with you. Why do you have beef with me and you're all of 40 years old? I am a child, you know. I'm just doing children things and you have such a vendetta against me. And if it's not that, it's you just hate me for whatever reason. And if it's not that, you want me. Because what's that? And in class 3, I have this very good teacher, Mrs. Ngotwa.
Shout out to Ngotwa.
Exactly. And then now fast forward, huwakuja out teachers in training. Ama waitangu aje. He didn't even have a Mr. It was Teacher Dennis. Teacher Dennis, wherever you were, I remember you were a smoker. And there are things I remember about him. I remember he was a smoker. I remember he was very young. And I remember he was bald. Me and Brenda, we are sharpening our pencil. We shave the graphite part of it. Tunafanya hivi, tunajipaka. As, you know, it's
emo.
We're in class 3. We've seen makeup going on. So, you know, we're trying to do something. So we look like ghosts. Sabu tumepaka hapa kwa macho, and then the lips were also doing it, and then hapa. You know, those days lazima ungekuwa na kadot. Kama si hapa, ni hapa kama ya mhindi ama hapa. So, you know, we were just doing our thing. We're not making noise. We're not disturbing anyone. We're just doing our makeup thing. Mr. Dennis walks into the class and he tells Brenda and I, tuko class 3, nyinyi mtakufa na ukimwi. Mko na usherati, hii ni usherati. And that day, kuambiwa utakufa na ukimwi, you know, like AIDS was a huge
Class 3.
thing. Exactly. So now I feel attacked. I feel shamed. And I wasn't doing anything horrible. And then he says, come with your parents together. You guys are troublemakers. You're noisemakers. But the thing he told us already, mtakufa na ukimwi na nyinyi ni washirati. Class 3. So I go home, I'm bawling, I'm crying, and I tell my mom all of these things, and she tells me, "Mulikuwa mnafanya nini?" You know, she's doing her whole adult thing. She's like, "Mulikuwa mnafanya nini?" Blah, blah, blah. And I didn't feel seen. I didn't feel heard. She comes to school the next day, and instead of believing me, this teacher now adds more lies. And he's like, she's a noisemaker, she's always causing trouble. And the previous day, I had an altercation with Neymar. Neymar, hiyo ilikuwa beef yetu sisi wawili.
Mbona unaleta kwa public?
Uliniambia kitu, nilikwambia kitu, ukaniambia so, nikaambia Neymar, sausage between your legs.
Oh!
So when Neymar saw my mom is here in school and I'm being lectured and everything, she came and said, "Mama Faith, yesterday Faith told me sausage between your legs." So now it's all accusations. No one is believing me, and I felt horrible. You know, no one took my side, no one spoke up for me, and that is when I made the decision. If I ever have children, I'm gonna stick beside them.
Dang.
If you come to me and say so and so did this, we will ride at dawn. I will always stand up for my kid, because I remember how that felt. I felt so horrible, because now you're imagining,
it's like you're supposed to be defending me. You're supposed to be my ride or die.
And it felt like this teacher is trying to isolate you from everyone. And then the minute you become vulnerable, it evolves into something else. Now he is all you have. You know, he's abusive and everything, but even if he does something to you,
you can't report. You can't report.
And I've never told my mom this, but that thing really, really hurt me. And these are the memories that stuck with me.
Dang.
I have a very good teacher, Mrs. Ngotwa. And then in the same year, I have a horrible, horrible teacher, and nobody can see the things he's doing and saying to me, and nobody understands.
It really traumatizes you because you're so young. Class 3, and you remember it to
Class
this
3,
day.
and I remember teacher
ago.
Dennis. I remember how he looked like. I remember how he smelled like. Just because of what he said to me. Imagine telling a child you're going to die of AIDS.
AIDS, class 3.
And in those days,
the
stigma with HIV was at an all-time high.
Like, it was a death sentence if you had HIV. There was no surviving.
Exactly.
ARVs, 3K. You were literally pushing P until you actually died. So imagine a child being told something like that. That's very traumatized. And you're class 3, you're a child.
If you know you have issues, there are people who just should not be teachers.
Yeah.
They're just in the trade to get money.
Or I think teachers need to have their own therapy sessions.
Mandatory therapy
for teachers needs to be a thing, because some of y'all be doing some shady shit. But I think the bigger issue is like these things are there and they exist, and unfortunately, the earlier you're exposed to them, the harder it is for you to trust other people. And honestly, I think I did mention this story before, but we may have gotten it snipped. When I was telling about my mom and the way she whooped my ass, as in I didn't do my homework the whole night. I mean, umefanya homework, nitafanya. Never ended up doing my math homework. The next day, just before, as kids used to go for like a morning sesh before you go for parade at like 8 a.m. in the morning. I am talking class 2. So, Masa, Mwalimu is looking at all the assignments, kind of going
handing your homework.
Yes, handing in homework. Hey, me, I'm dilly-dallying. I'm waiting until,
excuses.
To the parade, and then people will forget about it, right? Because then she has to come in and do the lesson. She calls out my name. Faith. Hand in your homework. Why do I keep calling myself Faith?
Because it is your name.
Faith. Where is your homework? And so I come really quickly telling her, I did. Akaniambia, hold on. Just there. Wait a minute. She went all the way to staff room, collected my mother, who was a teacher at my school. The both of them came. So in my mind, I'm like, mom's gonna back me up. She's my mother. Yeah.
Why are you not surprised?
Bro.
Why are you not shocked?
And I will never forget. It's those days when they used to have those pipes. Zile pipes, they were red, black, green, black. I love with strips like this. They realized those ones aren't impactful, so they would shove a stick inside it. Bro, I was whooped. My mother is there in front of the whole class. She used to have long nails. In your thighs. unafanyiwa tu hivi.
Unachunwa huku unagongwa huku.
Huku unachunwa huku unagongwa in front of the whole class, embarrassed.
Can I know my offense?
Embarrassed. It was so embarrassing.
In whose hands are we safe?
My mom was such an amazing person to everyone else. You know, like, I'm just, do you get? It's like in your mind you already know, because my mom is
She's
always,
a good teacher.
oh no, but every night she's coming home with nice letters. Oh, you're my favorite teacher. Oh, sijui nini 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 nini. Kila usiku she used to have notes from her students. But me, her own child, I was whooped blue, black. Yo.
Because you embarrassed her. Even me, I would have beat you if I was your mom. Eh? Imagine, because there's a standard, you know. When you're the teacher's daughter, you have to show up and show out. You cannot be regular.
Bruh, I was whooped.
Exactly.
I never forget that day. But again, that was an amazing teacher either way. She always looked out for me and whatever. Both my class teacher and my mom, they were amazing. Fast forward, class 6. Sijai how nilikuanga 6 red. Tulikuwa reds pia. 6 red. And we had this mwalimu, it wasn't a Fantans, it was Ephraim. Mr. Ephraim.
But then kwa tunafanana hivi.
Miss G.
It's like different timeline. It's like dimension. Wow.
It's
creepy.
It's giving
Wow.
it's giving parallel universe. But
Exactly.
then they forgot to shift us and put us in different universes. Mr. Ephraim. He was very young, you know, very tall, but it was one of those situations where he would teach like every single class. Anafundisha math, anafundisha GHC, PE, he's there. Wow. He used to like do so many lessons. You're like, Kwani, you're the only teacher in the school, bruh. Like, take a break, teacher. You know? But now the problem was like, you're so young, some of these things don't hit you until a lot later, when it now becomes like it's blatantly on top of, like right in your face.
That's
you're
how
like,
trauma works.
Oh, that's what was going on. Now, Mr. Ephraim used to teach us PE sometimes when our teacher isn't away. Class teacher was called Mr. Max. So when Mr. Max isn't there, Mr. Ephraim would be there. He would take us up for PE. And every time we'd go to PE, I was always there, the case study. Mi ndio naonesha penye tuna work out. So I'm just a small baby. I'm just a baby. No, I was straight. Like if you saw me those days.
It's giving cardboard.
It's flat everywhere. No dimension. Nothing.
2-dimensional.
It's like 2D. And so he would, but like you would notice a lot of touching, a lot of very, in that moment, you're just a kid, you don't understand what's going on, but there's a lot of touching and it's very, very uncomfortable, but you don't know what's going on. It feels off, but you're like, okay, maybe this is kind of just how things work, right? This keeps going on for a while until one day he asked me to remain behind. Ile time between, just before dinner, just after evening preps. Unajua ile preps ya
yes, watu wameenda kuosha shati,
kufanya washing, kufanya yes, all of that just before you go to dinner, and then you come for evening preps, now night preps, sorry. So during that time he asked me to stay behind. I'm like, okay, cool. I thought it was like an exam thing, whatever. We're always getting these random cats and rats. Ugh.
But now you're alone in class.
Yeah, I'm alone. So I get into the class and then he locks the door behind me. So I'm like, hold up, wait a minute, what's going on? This is definitely off, right? And then he's backing me into a corner and he starts saying weird stuff like, oh, I'm going to marry you. You're going to become my wife. Class 6. I want you to be my wife, yada, yada, yada. So I don't even, at this moment, again, it's not hitting me. You guys, I am thick as thick can be, and so naive. I've always been that way. I'm just so naive. It takes forever for me to even understand what's going on. This guy is over there telling me all these things. So I'm kind of loading. I'm like, what's going on here? And then he now tries to like shove me into a corner and there's no one around.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you. I think even now I have a blackout of exactly how I got out of that room, but I know I got out of that room and I ran. And I remember I gave my brother, I found my brother just before he left school, wrote him a note, and I told him, please take this to mom. My brother was a day scholar, I was a boarder. Wrote a note to my mom. I can't even remember what I said exactly, but I mentioned there was this teacher who was harassing me or something like that. I can't remember the actual words. It's a whole blackout. Again, I still don't know how. My mother in the morning alikuwa hapo saa moja. Anasema, my
Give me
daughter,
my child.
please, we are going home. So the school is like, oh, that's not how it works. You can't just come and collect your child, yada yada yada. Mother's like, look, we will stay here the whole day, but I am not leaving this premises until you give me back my child. And so they're like, what's happening? My mom doesn't even care to explain to anyone that she's insisting my daughter now. That was the last time I have ever been to that school. My mom collected my ass, took me home. My things walikuja kuchukwanga baadaye. But I am not leaving this school without my child. Because imagine she actually gets me into the staff room, I explain what's going on, and then she leaves. Imagine what would have happened to me. You know how teachers gang up on you sometimes?
True.
And then some weird fuck shit happens, now you're screwed fully. Mr. Ephraim is there defending himself, saying you came on to him. It just becomes this whole thing.
Class 6.
Now, funny story is later on, because people started trying to find out what happened after I left the school. Funny story. No one had done a background check on this guy. He had actually been kicked out of another school because he had molested a student.
The moral of the story is, especially, we won't even speak about Africa or anything, in Kenya, you guys need to look at the quality of teachers. I understand that it's a very difficult profession to get into. They're very underpaid, but it does not excuse some of the behavior. And even if it's not male teachers doing the most, and especially being predatory towards students, it becomes teachers picking on you.
Yeah.
I was in a high school. If you were in Giriambu girls, you remember this woman, our headmistress, Ngus. She was on another level. You know how you rule by fear? No one respects you. No one has an ounce of respect for you. But everybody fears you because of how unpredictable you are. You know, like on a Saturday, let me tell you how we got Saturday afternoon preps. She came one time in the afternoon after lunch. It's free time. Guys are washing, others are enter, and stood at the dorm area. And it cleared out and everybody went to class. And that is how Saturday afternoon preps started. And she was very violent. She would just find you walking. You know, you're just walking to class and it becomes a whole thing. You're being battered. You know how you have trauma and you don't know where it's coming from? Like there was a time I was at home and I was crossing paths with my mom. I wasn't paying attention. And then she said, oh, Nanda wapi? And she like startled me and I literally jumped. And she was like, what was that? What is happening? As in, just the fact that a woman was passing by me,
you.
The trauma, I get goosebumps anytime I think. You know how you have nightmares?
Yeah.
I would have nightmares that I'm running away from her.
From Mrs. Goose.
Yes, I'm running away from her, but I'm not running fast enough. And she's catching up with me.
What?
I was so traumatized by this woman. Even if you're right, it's still a problem. As in, you'd never know. You would never know. There's a time, it's free time. You know, everyone, watu wengine wako entertainment, it's Saturday evening. Entertainment, others have gone to sleep. So we had stayed over in class. We just revision. We're a very focused students. So we did a bit of revision. And then around 9, my friend was like, all my hair for me. And then we go dorm side. So that's all we're doing. We're not disturbing anywhere. We've already done our bid. We have tumesoma. Our grades are okay. So as I'm oiling her hair, she walked in. She didn't walk in. And she was a very short woman. And came to where we were. And blows are landing. So you don't even know what is happening. You're like, what? Wait a minute. Wait a damn minute. And you guys think I'm lying? Let's do this. In the comment section, if you went to Ngiriambu girls under Mrs. Ngure, write your experience in the comment section. I am not lying. I am really not. She was just psychotic. Ukipatwa in a punishment. Or sijui ati you are walking after supper. Kulikuwa na list. Wow. The trauma. Kulikuwa na list.
Gosh.
So during the whole week, people have been compiling lists. Sijui you didn't run after lunch, you were walking. Sijui you were late to get to where, you were late to do this. It was a military camp. So it was Sunday before church. Wanakuja, if you're on the list, go to the admin block. Unasikia tumbo imeingia maji because you don't even know what altercation you did. Somebody could have written your name out of malice. You don't even know what you did. And then what wako your list, your punishment is you wake up in the morning, go to her quarters, to her house, and wake her up singing praise and worship. So, you guys, I'm not lying. Please verify my story in the comment section. Asubuhi na mapema munaimba praise and worship na muimbe vizuri. Mtaona stima ya bedroom imewaka, muone stima ya bathroom imewaka. Aoge, I get ready, akuje. Na akitoka, she's now chasing people who are doing their duties and people who are late for breakfast. So before you go to wake her up, you need to have done your duties. So now you're waking up.
What time are you waking up?
At 3:30 to go wash your pavement so that you can be on time to go sing for her. Na akitoka, ukimbia, make it in class in time.
Bila breakfast.
Unaambia beshte yako kubebe mkate. Oh, kulikuwa na list ya kubeba chai class.
God.
Oh, my God. I went to the most ghetto high school. So even coming out of high school was such a relief.
So traumatized.
I was so relieved to finish high school. Na hatungefanya academic fire because it was a military school. You know? I was so relieved. So she had so many issues personally and she would project
that is a lot.
But that was basically my high school experience. You know, people talk about a very good high school experience. I didn't experience that. You know, you go to, there's a funky. If for any reason she has a problem with you, do you know you're going to be removed from that bus? And you're already in the bus, my friend.
Oh my God.
She removes you from the bus. Unarudi darasani. Your skirt is form fitting. You know, we're growing. We're teenagers. We are growing. So maybe at the beginning of the term, my skirt is not what it is by the end of the term. You know? Wow, my friend.
Hey.
My friend.
You just reminded me of another worker we had now at the school I was. The first school, it was really great. Again, as I said, we were very few. It was the first batch of students to begin with. But I started getting some random shit happening to me, right? And the most awkward one was this particular guy who used to work in the kitchen. So like caretaker, stroke kitchen, stroke all of these things, right? And then I had been assigned a part to clean. My cleaning area ilikuwa a corridor, which was almost there was a view of the kitchen because the kitchen was massive. It had like that kitchen was massive. It was like a cafeteria, huge wall, like just glass, a glass window, and then the cooking area and whatever. So where I was assigned, they could see me, but sometimes from some angles I couldn't see them. Who is me? You know me. I'm always on the dance mode.
It's a vibe.
So, you're washing the floor.
Get it.
You're just over there. You know, dancing as you're cleaning. Unakumbuka. Yay!
I don't know what that is, but mulongo. That's actually a like Matanga song or something. Anyway.
And like you are dancing. Umekatika yako yote. Do you notice that you do this every day? No, it's a subconscious thing. Actually, it's an unconscious thing. So you're never really realizing you're doing it. It's just your body just does a thing when you're trying to entertain yourself, yada yada yada. Bruh. Tell me why I get called to the principal's office. New principal. I'm like, yeah. That's odd. I get there. This man is standing there saying, I am seducing him. I'm sorry? I am always seducing him. So you know the way you huh?
What do you mean? Like you thought I would take time out of my day to seduce the cook? For what? For hot water?
He's the one reporting me.
Oh.
to the principal.
Yeah, my God.
I seduced him.
Yeah.
So I'm just loading. I'm like, you've been caught in such an, huh? He's like, yeah, every day when she's cleaning, she's just dancing there, showing me her and that principal was not a nice one. So a lot of problems had started piling up before I left that school. But it was always one thing or another. Like, it was never just me just living. It was just, I was always getting in trouble. Always. For those random shit. Anyway, another man who traumatized me, who should have been a friend. Or at least a person.
Yeah. I having a child really scares me because schools were not safe spaces for me.
Nope.
I have never experienced a school where it was safe for me to express myself or just to be myself. So now when my son comes with the smallest of complaints, I go into helicopter mode and I want to know what happened. I want you to recount everything. And I understand sometimes it's very exhausting, especially on his part. But I know what I went through. I know the quality of teachers I experienced. Because most of them were horrible. Only a few stood out. Only a few had a passion for teaching
and even
loved what
would
they
end
do.
up succumbing to just backing off because they don't want to be part of this mess, you know?
Exactly.
It's just like every other day you're always in trouble. They can't be seen to be picking your side all the time.
Yeah.
Just like they're defending you, but chini ya maji.
But we really need to have this conversation about how there are so many predators in school. How there are so many unhinged people who are in charge of children. And it is because of this behavior that we're seeing somebody died in school. You know, how does a pupil or a student die under your care? You know, how does somebody get sick for so long and just like she's pretending, give her paracetamol? Do you know there's a girl who almost died in school? She had kidney stones. And every time she complains about abdominal cramps, about how she's having trouble, going to pee and how she's in pain and everything, the nurse would be like, labda wako na UTI. Not even the nurse. We didn't even have a nurse. We had the matron. So now how is the matron doubling up as the nurse?
What medical knowledge
She was just being given paracetamol. So it got to some point where she was so sick, it was now visible. Like, wow, she is playing this game with death. She's ducking this death thing. And it was until then that they actually took her to hospital. And by taking her to hospital, it's like shoving her in the oldest van, going to the nearest government hospital, and it was scary. Just call someone's parent. If a student comes to you and says, listen, I'm not feeling well, and you feel, I don't have the capacity to deal with it, call the parent.
Yep.
But now keeping the child over there, giving them placebo medicine and saying they're pretending.
But it's true, because the first time I was ever admitted to a hospital is from school. And it's the same story. You get there and the doctor is like, if you had not brought this child into this hospital, if you had brought her even 2 hours after now, she'd have been dead. I'm just
call the parents.
Hello? I was dying?
We need reform. Somebody needs to reform. And that's why I'm so scared.
And the sexual harassment especially. Because
if it's not the student, it's the teacher.
And you think it's just an isolated incident, but how is it possible that 2 grown women in 2023 have very similar stories? The one I told you in class 6 was the first of a series of a few. I'm comfortable. And as I said, I was thick as...
And that's in primary school. So now imagine in high school. Because in high school, I had some encounters where we're like, oh, that's interesting. And it's also, people are now like saying, that teacher likes you, that teacher favors you.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a compliment. It's not.
It's not a compliment that a teacher removes you from punishment for you to go and sit down with him in the science department. That makes absolutely no sense. That kind of favoritism, because now everyone is looking at you weird. Other teachers are looking at you weird. But instead of pointing it out and calling out that behavior, they're just silent about it.
Yeah, some of them are even high-fiving him for, hey, damn, you're the one who landed her. It's so creepy. I told you about my I'll call him Mr. Nani. He was this Kisii teacher. He would come to specifically my desk, which was He was a short guy. So my desk and his my desk and his dick were on the same level, and he would quite literally have a hard on, place it on my desk. I'm like, why am I looking at a boner right now, bruh?
My God. What is?
And
Wow.
very, very tactfully said, take down notes now. Your boner as I am writing my notes. Bro, what are we doing?
And like sometimes you want to be mature about it, but it should not be my place
Why am I acting like an
to
adult?
try and be mature about situations. A male teacher just walks
Hey.
into class with a whole hard-on and is now teaching over there. So now you're wondering, is it just the shape of your pants? Because I'm not a pervert. I'm not the only one
Notice-
who's seeing
yes.
this. Everyone is, the whole class
why
is
are we
distracted.
playing hopscotch in corners, in stairs? Like, Mona, what is this? What is this? Can you let me go?
Yeah. And then after you finish high school, they follow you on social
Ah,
media.
Mr. Getao. Gosh.
Stop following your students
Why
on
you
social
said
media
gay?
after they clear high school, and then you come with the vibe of, hey, you're looking very nice. Hey,
Let me
how
take
are
you
you?
to coffee. Did I tell you?
Let me buy you coffee. What do you mean? Just because she's no longer under jurisdiction,
No,
It's
you're
now legal.
Now you're legal.
But when that happens to me, I feel so horrible because I'm thinking, so the whole time, this is how you were looking at
This
me.
really was not in my imagination.
A teacher who used to be mean to you is now DMing you on Facebook saying, hey, umekuwa mrembo. What do you mean? What do you mean? That is horrible. I understand people who date their lecturers in university. That's a whole
different thing. You're
ballgame.
legal.
But in high school, you've just been eyeing me the whole time. I feel like we got carried away, but
I think there was a lot of trauma there.
Yeah.
Look, there are some amazing teachers. We've given you examples of our amazing teachers. Shout out to all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you, there are also some creeps in these streets. You're just getting bullied for no reason by everyone all around. If you're not getting bullied, you're being sexually harassed. If you're not getting sexually harassed, something. It's always like you're never catching a break. And then your questions, you're a child. You start to ask yourself, is it me?
No.
What am I doing? Is there like an energy I'm giving off right now that's, what? Kwani, I'm the only one in this school is pheromones. Do you know what I mean?
Is it something I'm doing? And you question it, and it puts you in such a horrible state because you're feeling like all of this attention is on you, and it's unwanted attention.
It really is.
The teacher is always looking at you while explaining things.
My skirts were always as zinafika huku.
And I'm like, it's not
baggy
me.
shirts. Always tie. What is it you're seeing?
A specific teacher comes in and my deskmate is like, ndio huyo amekuja, just to alert me. Yo, guys. I get so scared at the thought of my child joining high school. And just being in school in general. It's so much anxiety because...
It is scary. When my niece kept complaining about this one teacher that was isolating her and bullying her for just wearing... And my brother called me. He's like, make sure when you go to that school, you talk to that teacher. I literally took my niece, went all the way, and we went together. And just very politely, I asked her, so my name is Daddy Nani. I am Nani's. I am her auntie. And just trying to find out what the progress is. How is she doing? How is her behavior? Because you're trying to also understand where the frame of mind of this person is. Like what's the issue there? Do you have bile with this kid because they're actually a naughty child, or is it? But why are we discussing why a PP1, PP2 student is naughty?
Come on.
Why are you bullying this child? Because they've worn a pink hairband. What does a pink hair tie have to do with this? Surely.
You're not bullied by your fellow students. You're bullied by your teachers.
It's a combination. No, imagine your teachers are bullies, the students are bullies. In whose hands are we safe?
And then you wonder why this child is acting out. because you're not listening. The safe space that should be the school and the teachers, it's not there anymore.
Me kwanza those funny, oh, come to the staff room. Yeah, tutenda tukiwa watatu. At least 3 people.
Night preps.
Night preps
uko kwa staff room.
No.
Yetu hata kwa staff room. There was, you know, departments. As in, girl, what are you doing in that department at 9 p.m.? What are you doing?
No.
Anyway.
If you experienced something similar, please talk to us. At
Comment
least
section.
Now we're grown. Now we have answers. Now we have solutions on what you can do with those creeps. And we're even talking about offices now, because now you're working. These behaviors, you still see them in creepy people. You know, we just gave you an example of someone who we saw, and immediately, that's the thing, if you've been preyed upon, you get that energy. Like you will feel it, even if you've never met this person. So let us know. We will help you where we can. Let us know. Please, just tell us your stories. If you are still in school and you're being traumatized, please talk to us. We will give you the right advice on exactly what to do, because we got hacks.
You use the comment section to tell us what's happening.
Our
your
DMs.
Experiences.
Yes.
Have they now transitioned into you having the same experiences in the workplace?
Yes.
And that's just because you didn't deal with the experiences in your
Back
past.
then, the traumas.
And now you don't know how to handle these situations. Tell us what's happening.
Yes.
I don't even know if you liked this one.
Gosh.
But we're going to ask you. Did you like that?